I was taking a shower, but all the inmates were staring straight at me. My hair color was gradually fading. When I turned around, the collar around my neck was exposed. I ignored their mocking looks and walked back to my cell, preparing to use my magnetic powers to escape. But this time, I couldn't bend a single metal bar. The other inmates burst out laughing and told me that as long as I wore that collar, my powers would be suppressed. An inmate in the next cell spat at me. I held back my anger and walked away to avoid trouble. But soon, the gang leader ordered her people to surround me and roughly threw me to the ground. They even deliberately targeted my stomach once they heard I was pregnant. I ignored the stinging pain from the collar and forced my powers to activate. But in the end, only I was dragged into solitary confinement by the guards. For the sake of my unborn child, I still refused to give up. I stared at the iron door, ignoring the collar's restrictions, released my magnetic force again. The metal door swung open, but my body had reached its limit. I slowly crawled out of the cell, eventually leaning weakly against the wall, and was found by the guards. To stop me from escaping again, the authorities decided to transfer me to a special prison and arranged a plastic transport vehicle so my magnetic powers would be useless. But my superpowered allies got word ahead of time and set up an ambush along the way, shooting out the tires. They sent an invisible teammate to scout, but his powers suddenly failed and he was shot down by the police. Then my allies lost their powers one by one. It turned out that one of the officers had the ability to suppress powers. His eyes glowed gold as he nullified all our abilities. My companions had no choice but to pull out their guns and fire. Meanwhile, the guards on the transport vehicle were ordered to move me. That is when I saw my chance. The inmate next to me attacked and knocked out the guard, while my allies outside finally took down that special officer. When he fell, the power suppression stopped instantly. All our abilities were restored. The tide of the battle completely turned, but the inside of the vehicle was surrounded by plastic. My magnetic powers were useless. The inmate said he had steel pins embedded in his leg. I hesitated for a while, then pulled the metal pins out of his body, unlocked our handcuffs, subdued the remaining guards, and quickly escaped the transport vehicle. The guards outside kept firing at me, but my power had returned. I just raised my hand and all the guns in the police's hands flew away, leaving them defenseless. My allies drove up to pick us up, and we fled the scene immediately. But before I could even say a few words to my boyfriend, the police chief blocked the road ahead with his men. I got out of the car to face them, ignoring the bullets fired at me, and easily took the chief's gun. I dragged him into an abandoned building, pulled steel rebar from the pillars, bent it into a ring around his neck, making him taste the pain I'd been through. I pressed him for the location of the rest of my captured superpowered allies. He refused to talk, so I had Dreamer search his memory. But the chief had been trained as an agent, and Dreamer struggled to read him.